Hey guys, Josheb here with another quick video for you. This week we are going to be covering Mercenaries. Last week I asked for suggestions on what video you would like to see, and one of the things people requested most was a video covering Mercenaries, when to get them, why they're useful, what maps they're useful on, etc, etc. So without further ado, we'll jump right in. So in order to use the Mercenaries to their maximum effectiveness, we need to know when they spawn. Siege camps and bruisers, bosses, all spawn at the 2-minute mark. They do have slightly different respawn timers. It's also important for maximum efficiency and effectiveness to know when each objective spawns on each map. So here's a little cheat sheet. You can pause it and take a look. I'll also include a link to this image in the description of the video so that you can keep it for your own records and practice. So why do we want to get the Mercenaries? There are two main reasons that we want to grab the Mercs, and we're going to be covering both of those along with some video examples. The first one is to help push or defend advantages, and we're going to go straight to the Haunted Mines for this one because I feel like it's the easiest map to show an example of. So we joined this Haunted Mines game already in progress. The blue team has managed to get 72 skulls to the red team's measly 28. So it seems pretty one-sided. It's almost a 50 skull advantage, and that is pretty strong. But what you're going to find is the red team, through utilizing the Mercenaries, is going to be able to defend this almost as well as the blue team does, even though the golem size is significantly different. So here we have Muradin already starting on their Merc camps. Meanwhile, the blue team has not even begun. Now the goal here is to capture the siege giants right around the time that the enemy golem is approaching their gate, ideally right about the time that they're crossing the mineshaft itself, which is the mutual halfway point of the map. Now we do have a couple of people coming to help Muradin out because there's no way to get that timing right unless he gets some assistant. So right away you see Muradin picks up the siege camp. The timing is about right. You can see the golem is just now passing the mine shaft, and the reason that timing is important is it keeps the siege golem safely behind the gate where they can actually do damage to the golem without taking any damage themselves. So effectively we have a total of 7 damage dealers that are all wailing on the golem at once. Meanwhile, at the top, we're going to have a maximum of 5 damage dealers wailing on the golem. So if you look to the life bars off to the right, just above the minimap, you'll see that it's actually fairly close, even though the blue team has a 50 golem advantage. The blue golem does stay up just a little bit longer, but think about how much more severe it could have been if they didn't have the siege giants helping. In fact, go ahead and note the health of the forts here. The blue and the red forts have almost identical health and ammunition, showing just how effective that was. And now the blue team hastily picking up the siege giants when they no longer matter as much. So that is a great example of the first option, which is using them to help defend an advantage. And that's going to lead us into the second reason you should be using the Mercenaries, and that is to help secure objectives for your team. So what we have for you here, just an example between Roccat and Team Dignitas at the European Road to BlizzCon Championships. We joined the game here as Roccat has already gotten one of the tributes, and the game has just started. They're both at level 7, and it's time to prepare for the next tribute. Now, knowing that, Rocket has already begun getting the siege camp, and you'll notice here that Malfurion has not gotten it yet. He is waiting for the announcement that a tribute has spawned, and the reason he's doing that is because once the tribute spawns, these siege giants are going to act as one of two things. They're either going to distract Team Dignitas, who is going to have to go up and deal with them, letting Roccat have that tribute, or they're going to have to fight for the tribute. Meanwhile, that siege camp is getting maximum effectiveness because they're going to be wailing on that fort up top while the fight is occurring. And you'll see that Dignitas has actually done the same thing on the bottom. So while this fight is going on, the bottom and the top lanes are both getting pushed by each team's respective siege giants. So right now, the whole time this fight is happening, the real action, the real push is happening in each of those lanes. Now Dignitas does actually have better positioning in order to get this tribute, so Roccat is going to let it go, and that's going to be a free tribute for Dignitas. But while they're getting that tribute, let's take a look and see what the golems on the bottom have done. So the tower down here is about halfway finished, but thanks to the timing of the Roccat team on their own golems up top, We're going to check those out in just a second, and you're going to be able to see that they have done a fair amount of work. Look at the damage on that fort that has occurred and the long trip back up to defend. What a great play by Rocket. What great timing to ensure that they get those done. And now, before the next tribute spawns, they're going to repeat the same thing, this time with the second set of mercenaries. They're going to go ahead and grab the knights here, and they're doing that right before the tribute spawns. You see the timing on both teams just absolutely uncanny, and they managed to get both of these for the same effect. While they're both running in order to engage the tribute, these knights are going to be pushing. So this is a prime example of how you can use the mercenary camps in order to help secure objectives for your team. And if it doesn't help you secure the objective, it will do a fair amount of damage where it really hurts the other team in the process. So with that example in mind, let's think of some other ways we could use it on other maps in order to gain an advantage during objectives. During Sky Temple, you can use the mercenaries to make sure they're having to choose between defending against the mercenaries or contesting the temples themselves. For the Blackheart's Bay, you can use the mercenaries to make sure that they're not defending the turn-in, and instead they're having to deal with the mercenaries pushing in their forts. Same thing for the Garden of Terror, making sure that they aren't actually trying to get seeds themselves, but that they're having to defend their forts. With the Tomb of the Spider Queen, same thing. You can actually use the mercenaries to make sure they're having to defend while you're getting that crucial turn-in. Just really be creative with it. Know what the team wants to be doing and use the mercenaries to make sure that they have to make a Sophie's choice in deciding whether or not to defend their own structures or to go for the map objective. There will be times when it's not as obvious when you should be going to get the mercenaries, and that's one of the most difficult things to learn about this game is what should I be doing if it's not obvious. In that situation, there are 3 questions that you can ask yourself that will help you decide what you should be doing. So here are the 3 questions in closing to think about. First, focus on the wimp. What is most productive for my team right now? What can I do that will have the biggest effect on the rest of the game? And before you jump up and say, oh, take the boss, that will lead you into the second question, and that is, can I do it safely? There is no sense in going for the boss if you are just going to wipe and give it to the other team, assuring a victory. So that leads us into the third question. What is the risk versus reward? If I try this and I'm not successful, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? Are they going to get a camp that's not going to have much effect? Are they going to take the boss and march all the way to the core? These are the 3 things that you want to focus on when it's not obvious what you should be doing. And when you arrive at the end of those 3 questions, you should know in your heart of hearts exactly what you should be doing for the good of the team. Once again, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please take a moment and like and subscribe to the video series if you enjoyed it. Also be sure and check out Josheb.com, which will give you direct link to not only the YouTube but also to my Twitch channel where I do stream, as well as to my Twitter. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys soon.